Great. What developments in your project have you made this week?
This week I completed my Better Ideas Faster form. I completed busting open my initial idea in the form of a mind map. I also completed my idea treatment, and as of now I am completing my first official vlog for the product. So I've done that so far. What I also did this week was wrote up my skill set onto my WordPress account, which I listed. I wrote a 700 word piece on all of my skills, how I think they're applicable to this project, why I chose to use these skills for this project, and I uploaded that to WordPress, so I completed that. In my Better Ideas Faster part of the project, a huge aspect of what I did this week was finalizing my target audience and finally narrowing it down to what I really wanted, because I always had a concept of a target audience. But this week, with the Better Ideas Faster and the idea treatment, I really felt like I got to the core of who I'm trying to get at. Because initially, for my Better Ideas Faster product, decided that I was going to I wrote down in it that my target audience was 16 to 25 year olds, and it's only after I thought about the idea in more detail that I worked out the type of content I'm trying to make, which is an analytical piece on football that really doesn't really emphasize much on players or teams or the sport itself, more of the business around the sport. Like that's likely not to appeal to people in that age range and people older. So I moved up the age range to 21 to 30, and I realized I should cap it off at 30, because the style of documentary I'm making, which is a poetic documentary, it's not very conventional. People aren't used to poetic documentaries, and you find that younger audiences are a lot more accepting of that unconventional style than older audiences are. So that's why I did that, and it was with the help of completing my Better Ideas Faster form and my idea treatment that I made that very big development in my products. But beyond that, just completing that form just kind of put everything to paper. Like, it put the assumptions I'm making on paper. It put the context and the background of this project and why I've decided to do it, which is my history in videography and editing, and wanting to put those two skills together to create this documentary that showcased both of the skills, combined with something like football, which I know I can analyze and create a piece of content that's going to appeal to the niche audience I'm trying to target. So, it's within the idea treatment, I also spoke more to the genre, and I did something I hadn't done since I had completed the Buster Open project, where I broke down the idea on the mind map, and that is I compared the style of subgenre of documentary I'd chosen to the other types of documentary out there, and I realized why I chose a poetic documentary and not, say, an observational documentary, and that is because I don't want to conduct interviews for this short film, for this short documentary, for the simple fact that with interviews you get biased, and that's not the perspective I want to put the audience in. I want to put the audience in the most objective viewing, completely from the outside looking in, but point of view they can have, because in my opinion, that's how you make a documentary more fair. That's how you make a documentary feel like I'm being exposed to the ideas, I'm being exposed to the facts, and I'm going to make my own assumption on it. And it's when I did the idea treatment that I worked out that's why I chose a poetic documentary and not an observational documentary as my subgenre of documentary. When busting open the idea, it just really showed me all the different avenues I could have gone down with this concept. I could have made an observational documentary where I didn't even host it, I didn't say anything in the documentary, I just got a camera, went down to a football club, spoke with the owners about the issue, spoke with the fans about the issue with the owners, and just filmed it. And that could have been the idea there. Or I could have done a more exploratory documentary where I did more interviews akin to something you see on the BBC, and both of those styles in the documentary would have been perfectly fine, but I don't think they would have showcased my editing skills as well as the poetic documentary. And it's when I busted it open and put the idea on that mind map that I really saw that. So that's mostly what I conducted this week. This week really felt like me just getting all my ideas and finalizing them, and it really feels like I've sharpened the tip of this idea, and it can actually go and stab something. That's probably not the best way to phrase it, but yeah, like it's sharper. The idea is more fine, more slick. It has more of a clear vision, and that's what I did this week with those pieces of work. Next question.
What do you need to complete?
I have not yet completed the schedule. That is something that needs to be done because I need to fit my filming time in, my editing time in, my time to work on the general project in, my blog time in. I need to all formulate it around my own personal schedule, because while the school has its own set dates in which it says you should be uploading certain things, to put that around my own personal life, which is a bit impractical. So I need to make my own schedule for the times I want all of these things to be completed, and it just gives you a nice bit of level of urgency, a nice level of discipline, and a nice level of, I guess, structure, because it feels like even now everything's a bit loose. I don't have a clear idea of when everything is being done. Like, it's a very almost this will be done when the time emerges for it, and that's not the structure you want to go for if I want to get any kind of decent grade in this project. So I need to create a schedule. I have also yet to create the finished script, because whilst I've done some research to put into the script about football club ownership, I have not completed the research I want to do before I officially start writing it up. So between getting the research done and writing the script, that may take me a bit of a while, but that is something else I need to conduct. Next question, please.
How soon do you believe you can complete this by?
The schedule I hope to be done by this weekend. It is a very short activity. It should not take me long at all, and it would be a bit absurd if I did not have this completed by the 29th of April. As for the script, that's a bit loose, considering that I'm researching throughout the entire project. I could add more to the script later, and subsequently that would mean the script would be extended. I could reduce the amount I put on the script. It's all a changing, almost evolving thing. It's molding, it's changing, it's altering. So it's hard to really lock down, this is when the script is going to be completed. But the script is obviously going to have to be completed before the filming starts, and I need to schedule in when the filming starts. So really, I'll know where my script is going to be completed by the time I know when my schedule is completed. So the kind of two things that need to be done in order for me to know exactly when I am finished. But one thing I did do this week that's going to help me make the script is, in the idea treatment, I wrote down a summary, and that is where I wrote down the structure I'd like my documentary to go in, and I think knowing that structure is going to make the script a lot easier to write. So that's what I need to complete. That's what I did this week, and that is when I think I can complete it by, and that is vlog 1 completed.